gotta come back with me. Where? Back to the future.
Released in 1989, Back to the Future Part 2 wasn't just a sequel, it was a vision of the future. And it made that future feel real. Flying cars, hoverboards, self-lacing shoes, wall-sized TVs, smart tech before they even existed. When this movie hit theaters, it didn't just entertain audiences, it reshaped how sci-fi showed the future on screen. With Michael J. Fox playing multiple versions of himself, and Christopher Lloyd turning Doc Brown into a walking science experiment, that wild 2015 world that somehow still feels familiar today. But behind all that pop culture magic, Back to the Future Part 2 was hanging on lawsuits, injured stunt performers, and Simpson-like prophecies. So let's jump back in time. Here are 20 shocking facts you didn't know about Back to the Future Part 2. Some of these are way crazier than the movie itself. And it all started with one actor. Number 1, the actor who got fired for asking for more money. Crispin Glover's absence in Back to the Future Part 2 wasn't a mystery. It was a fallout. After the massive success of the first film, Glover asked for a higher salary and openly criticized the story direction of the sequel. The studio didn't negotiate. They moved on. Instead of recasting him normally, the filmmakers refused footage from the first movie and hired another actor to wear prosthetics and sunglasses and used careful camera angles to mimic Glover's appearance, all without his consent. Glover didn't let that slide. He sued Universal Studios and won. The lawsuit changed Hollywood contracts forever, establishing legal protections against using an actor's likeness without permission. And there were more changes to the cast. Another exit forced the film to make a quieter replacement. Number 2, why Jennifer changes faces mid-trilogy. Jennifer Parker being recast wasn't a creative choice. It was a real-life crisis. Claudia Wells, who played Jennifer in the original Back to the Future, was fully expected to return for the sequels. But shortly after the first film's release, her mother was diagnosed with cancer. Wells made the difficult decision to step away from acting to care for her family. The filmmakers needed to move fast. Back to the Future Part 2 picks up immediately where the first film ends. Jennifer isn't a side character, she's physically in the DeLorean. Recasting the role became unavoidable. Enter Elizabeth Shue. Instead of calling attention to the change, the movie simply moves forward as if nothing happened. No explanation, no joke, and no acknowledgement. Shue's Jennifer feels more grounded and mature, making the darker, more complicated tone of the sequel. You couldn't help but accept the new Jennifer, but not everyone was aware of certain changes. Number 3, Michael J. Fox learned about the sequel the worst way possible. Michael J. Fox found out that Back to the Future Part 2 was officially happening when he watched the VHS release of the first movie and saw the words, "To be continued," appear on screen. The studio added it without telling him. Fox later admitted he was shocked, confused, and a little annoyed. From his perspective, a sequel wasn't guaranteed, and suddenly it was announced to the world without him being informed. It's wild to think one of the biggest sequels of all time began with an actor finding out the same way the audience did. And speaking of things hiding in plain sight, let's talk about this tiny arcade game. Number 4, the forgotten arcade game that secretly matters. The Wild Gunman arcade machine in Back to the Future Part 2 was a dusty old game that kids in 2015 think is ancient. But that specific machine was never real in the first place. At the time the movie was made, Nintendo hadn't actually released Wild Gunman as an arcade cabinet. The filmmakers had to build a custom arcade machine from scratch just for the movie. So what we saw wasn't a real relic. It was a prop designed to look outdated in the future. Here's where it gets cooler. Wild Gunman isn't just a random choice. It's deliberate foreshadowing. The game is about a Western-style, quick-draw duel, exactly the kind of showdown Marty faces in Back to the Future Part 3 when he confronts Buford Mad Dog Tannen in the Old West. Marty's future literally introduces him to the rules of his past, but that wasn't even the hardest trick the movie had to pull off. Number 5, Michael J. Fox was playing multiple characters the hard way. In Back to the Future Part 2, Michael J. Fox doesn't just play Marty McFly, he also plays Marty Jr. and Marlene McFly, Marty's future son and daughter. Fox had to perform each character separately, sometimes hours apart, all while remembering exact movements, timing, and eye lines. Scenes were shot multiple times with motion-control cameras, so the footage could later be stitched together. The toughest part was Marlene. Fox had to study body language and movement carefully. The performance would later be combined with makeup, costume, and editing to really sell the illusion. Most viewers never think about the technical challenge. But entire scenes in the future only work because Fox basically acted against himself repeatedly. And while Fox was juggling multiple versions of himself, a future star was about to appear for the very first time. Number 6. Elijah Wood's Blink and You Miss It movie debut. If you blink, you might miss him, but yes, that's Elijah Wood. Before Lord of the Rings, before Hollywood fame, his first movie role was in Back to the Future Part 2. He plays one of the kids amazed by the Wild Gunman arcade game, reacting to Marty's old-school skills like he's watching magic. It's a tiny role, no lines, but it's a huge starting point. It's one of those moments fans love spotting years later, realizing that even the future Hill Valley was quietly launching careers. This one might have been easy to miss, but this next fact literally left the cast shook. Number 7. The real-life disaster caught on camera. During the filming of the 2015 cafe scene, a real earthquake hit California. What's crazier is that the earthquake doesn't even translate in film. A real-world disruption slipped into a fictional future and stayed there. Real-world chaos didn't stop filming, but the next invention caused chaos everywhere. Number 8. The hoverboard that was never supposed to exist. The hoverboard is the most iconic object in Back to the Future Part 2, and here's the truth. They were never real. The filmmakers assumed audiences would instantly understand it was fictional. They were wrong. Robert Zemeckis and Universal Studios were bombarded with calls and emails from parents who needed to get their kids these hoverboards. Universal Studios had to release official statements explaining the hoverboards did not exist at all. That wasn't enough, so they asked someone to actually make them. Number 9. The toy company that couldn't handle the chaos. Somehow, stores, parents, and even media outlets began contacting Mattel, one of the biggest toy manufacturers at the time, expecting them to produce hoverboards for sale. But Mattel didn't even have the technology to make a real hoverboard, nor did they ever promise to try. No one cared. Phones rang constantly, letters piled up, retailers wanted release dates, children begged for the impossible. The company had to clarify repeatedly that these futuristic skateboards were pure fiction. This movie didn't stop there. Hoverboards were not the only thing that was invented. It even imagined shoes from the future. Number 10, the shoes that tied themselves and then became real. When Marty steps into 2015 Hill Valley, one of the first things that happens is that his sneakers lace themselves automatically. No bending down, no tying, just a quick mechanical tightening that locks his shoes into place. In 1989, this was pure science fiction. The shoes were created specifically for the movie using hidden mechanisms and multiple takes. But here's where it gets crazy. Decades later, Nike actually made them real. In 2011, Nike released limited edition mag sneakers inspired by the film. Then, in 2016, they went even further, unveiling a real self-lacing version, directly inspired by Marty McFly's shoes. They even released charity editions with proceeds going to Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's Foundation. So while flying cars never released, the shoes did. But shoes weren't the only piece of the future that jumped off the screen and into real life. Number 11. Yes, it actually predicted Pepsi Perfect. In Back to the Future 2, a premium soda called Pepsi Perfect sits on the futuristic menu board. It's sleek, stylized, and feels like something someone from 2015 Hill Valley would casually order with lunch. Kinda like today's special edition drinks. Fast forward to October 21st, 2015, the exact date Marty travels to in the film. Pepsi chose to bring Pepsi Perfect to life. They released a limited edition run of the soda in bottles that looked almost exactly like the ones shown in the movie. Fans lined up for them, collectors snapped them up, but not every prediction deserves the hype. Number 12. No, it did not predict the World Series. The Chicago Cubs World Series prediction is one of the most repeated myths surrounding Back to the Future Part 2.
Cubs win World Series. Against Miami?
Yes, the movie mentions the Cubs winning, but the details don't line up. The year is wrong, the opponent is wrong, the circumstances are exaggerated. Fans just wanted it to be true. And speaking of exaggeration, let's talk about a sequel that doesn't exist but still made history. Number 13, the fake movie sequel with a real Spielberg connection. Jaws 19 is a gag meant to show how Hollywood franchises never end. But look closer. The director credits reads Max Spielberg. That's the real-life son of Steven Spielberg. Here's the kicker. Max Spielberg was born in 1985, and he'd have been 30 in 2015. Exactly the same age that his dad was when he directed the original Jaws. But this wasn't one of those predictions that came to be. That fake movie fits right in with a newspaper that completely lost its mind. Number 14, the newspaper that went completely off the rails. The future USA Today headlines are intentionally ridiculous. Robot judges, climate disasters, and over-the-top scandals. It's not meant to be accurate. The filmmakers wanted the future to feel loud, crowded, and information-heavy. Headlines are stacked. Stories blur together. Everything screams for attention. The joke isn't about the future. It's about media overload, and satire leads us straight to one of the film's most controversial inspirations. Number 15, the movie character inspired by Donald Trump. Rich Biff wasn't subtle. The hair, the wealth obsession, the attitude, it was all inspired by Donald Trump's public persona in the 1980s. A villain built from real-world excess. While Biff dominates the screen, another character hides in the background. Number 16, the Roger Rabbit cameo you've probably never seen. Roger Rabbit appears briefly in the antique store window. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was directed by Robert Zemeckis and also co-starred Christopher Lloyd. This was a year before Zemeckis shot both Back to the Future sequels. Talk about a crossover. Roger Rabbit wasn't the only visitor. Number 17, another sci-fi movie sneaks into the future. The star car from The Last Starfighter flies through this future skyline in one background shot. Did you notice? The future looks amazing, but it wasn't always easy to see. Number 18, the actor who was literally blind on set. Christopher Lloyd couldn't see a thing through Doc Brown's metal sunglasses. They were solid, reflective, and completely impractical. He relied on cues and muscle memory just to move safely. That wasn't the only time safety wasn't guaranteed. Number 19, the dangerous injury left in the final cut. During the hoverboard chase, a stunt woman was injured after a bad landing. Cheryl Wheeler, the stunt double for the female member of Griff's gang, went off course and collided with a pillar during the scene. As a result, a release cable was cut early, causing her to miss the crash mat entirely and fall roughly 30 feet to the floor below. She was hospitalized with injuries to her face, arm, and hand. Thankfully, she made a full recovery and later returned to stunt work. But the incident stands as one of the film's most serious behind-the-scenes accidents. The fall and pain are real, but the shot stayed. And for the last trick, a visual effect that almost broke the illusion. Number 20, the visual effect so close to failure you can still see it. The wires holding up the DeLorean are faintly visible even today. Just look a little closer. A reminder that movie magic is fragile. That's it for this one, folks. 20 shocking facts about Back to the Future Part 2. It wasn't just ahead of its time, it was barely holding itself together while changing cinema forever. And if you want to see where it all began, check out our video on Back to the Future 1985, 20 Weird Facts You Didn't Know. The original film that took a wild risk on time travel survived studio doubt, last-minute changes, and still became a defining blockbuster of its era. If you love movie facts, behind-the-scenes stories, and classic sci-fi breakdowns, like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next rewind. Now remember, roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. See you next time.